Brian Hanley. Just checking in, man. Just checking in with you guys. Just wanted to see what was up. Talk a little bit about George Pickens and DK
The state
Metcalf on
championship is in his
how
future.
how they're going to work together. How is this whole thing going to work together? Because I think it's going to work. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe that it's going to work, but I actually believe that it's going to work. I believe that them as a tandem, I think they can be one of the best tandems in the league. I absolutely believe that. Look, there's no doubting either one of their talents. George Pickens is a crazy talent. Does he have to get better? Does he have some things that he needs to work on? Absolutely. Absolutely, there's some things he has to work on. Maturity being at the top of the list. You know, DK Metcalf, he's kind of a crash out, can go crazy. I get it, but just wanting the ball. Both of them good guys. So I think they're going to work well together. Look, Deontay Johnson was here. He was the number one receiver when he was here, and Pickens didn't have an issue with that, you know. So DK is going to be the number one guy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, it can be proven wrong, you know, because if you're just talking talent for talent, I'm not sure that Pickens isn't more talented as DK. I'm not sure he's not more talented than DK. Now, as far as a better receiver, DK's accomplished more, you know. But if we're just strictly talking about talent, I mean, I've said it before. I think George Pickens is a top 10 talented guy in the National Football League. But there's more than talent to being a really good receiver. So there's definitely more to talent. Hey, what's going on, Tom? So there's definitely more than just talent to make you a good receiver. But I think they're going to work well. Look, I think Arthur Smith is going to come back. What's going on, Forever? Forever 412? I think Arthur Smith is going to devise some stuff and come up with some stuff. He already talked about getting back to his roots as far as the wide zones and running a lot more zone schemes. But he didn't do that last year. Look, that was part of coaching. He did it. I think he did it more than what he should have because Najee Harris wasn't great at it. Look, even Jaylen Warren's not necessarily great at running inside zone stuff. So that's all I know. That's all I know. And who's going to throw the ball to him? I mean, we have quarterbacks on the roster. You know, we've got guys that are on the roster. We'll figure it out. What's going on, Rob? How you doing? I'm doing good, Sebastian. How you doing? You know, I'm not overly concerned about who's throwing the football. Everybody just wants to downgrade Mason Rudolph and all that kind of stuff. When he's been put in situations where he's able to participate long term, he's done fine with the Steelers. I don't care whatever he did with other places, okay. But he's been fine. He's been fine with what we're doing. So if we pick up another quarterback along the way, great. But I'm okay with it. What's going on, Eric? So, but that's where we're at now. And that's the only thing I care about now. And to be quite frank, and I've said it before, I'm not talking about other people that are no longer on the roster. I'm not talking about people that we didn't draft. I'm not talking about people in free agency that are not on this team. Until they become a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not going to mention them anymore because it doesn't do, I mean, what's the point? You're not on the team. I'm talking about the Steelers. I'm ready to talk about football. I'm ready to get down to the brass tacks of real football and not, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the woulda, coulda, shoulda. That was me and Big G last night on the Big Show. That was it. Now we're going to start talking some football. Now we're going to start talking some football and what's going on. So, Jared Devil, what's happening? Appreciate you, man. What's going on? And I don't think we're going to use the RBs like tight ends, Brady. I'm not even sure what that means. You said use the RBs like tight ends. Like, what are you talking about? There's no offense that should be using running backs like tight ends. No. I'm not sure what that means. But what I'm talking about is just the Steelers going out and just playing football. Having Arthur Smith come up with ways to maximize the talent that we have. That's what I'm about. So Torsha says Mason doesn't turn the ball over too much in Tennessee. His receivers drop the ball a lot. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. And all the here's the thing that's funny is that people say that, well, people do a terrible job of, analyzing quarterbacks and dissecting quarterbacks, but then they're going to sit around and then tell you that Mason Rudolph can't play. You literally just said that people don't know how to judge quarterbacks, but now Mason Rudolph can't play? I don't believe that. Just because you haven't seen a lot of it doesn't mean that he can't be successful in our system. And the one thing that I do know, not the first stint, it's fair to say the first time around when Rudolph was here, when he got his opportunity, when Big Ben got hurt, he didn't play well. Hell, Duck Hodges took his job. Okay? He wasn't prepared. The second time when he actually got an opportunity and he led us to the playoffs, he was fine. And even in that playoff game against Buffalo, he was fine. Nobody said the Steelers lost because of Mason Rudolph. Nobody was like, man, boy, Mason Rudolph cost the Steelers that playoff game in Buffalo. Nobody was saying that. Nobody was saying that because it wasn't true. It literally wasn't true. Hell, because of what Mason Rudolph, the game could have got way out of hand. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going down the train. And look, I could be 100% wrong. I could absolutely be dead wrong about this whole situation. But I know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I saw as far as the Steelers are concerned. Is that I saw when Mason Rudolph got his opportunity 2 years ago, he played good football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. He played good football. What's going on, Palmer? So, and that's the thing, is that the Steelers have a chance with Mason Rudolph. Let that just be the media narrative, people. If they want to keep saying, you know what that would mean? The media narrative, Mason Rudolph can't play, the Steelers stink. And then when he plays good or plays okay, I can't believe the Steelers. They're going to give all the credit to Mike Tomlin. Now, I'm not saying that Mike Tomlin wouldn't deserve credit, but wouldn't we be giving Mason Rudolph some of that credit too? Like, that's what y'all know. You all already know what's going to happen. Is that they are going to say that it's going to be all Mike Tomlin. Look what he's doing with Mason Rudolph without giving Rudolph any credit. So, yeah, Forever 412, I heard that rumor about Cousins. No. There's no reason for the Steelers to make a trade. There's no reason for them to make a trade for that. So, says just always seems there's something missing in the playoffs, whether no matter how confident you are in that particular team, they always manage to collapse. Coaching, maybe. It's not always coaching. Here's the thing. And Baltimore was a better football team than the Steelers last year. And that's tough for a lot of Steeler fans to admit. But if you're being honest with yourself, Baltimore was better than we were. Now, we beat them in the game during the regular season, but you go back and you look at how the Steelers actually won that football game. Okay? But they were better than us. And they beat us. Now, they didn't have to pound us into the dirt like that, but TJ was hurt. He was literally nullified, couldn't do anything. The plan that we had was terrible. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat, S. Palmer. Thank you very much, my man. So that's my only thing is that we just weren't as good. We just were not as good. I mean, down the stretch, even the Bengals, we were about on par with what the Bengals were. We were about on par with what the Bengals were. Because some of those games that the Bengals lost early in the season, if they win a couple of those games, they're in the playoffs and we're not. That's the whole thing that we have to look at. And I don't think enough people want to just admit that the Ravens were better than us. They were. We knew the Chiefs were better. The Eagles were better. I mean, that's who we were playing down the stretch. The one team that I would say that was pretty good that we matched up and we ended up beating them on the road was the Commanders. Remember how tough that game was? That's about where the Steelers were. But those other teams were better than them. You know, the Eagles, the Chiefs, you know, the Ravens, they were better than the Commanders, man. So that's the whole thing. We just have to be there. Just have to be there. And you're right, Torsia. I don't want to admit that the Ravens were better than us either, but they were. They were. But here's the thing, though. It's okay. You know, it's we don't like to lose to them. We don't want to lose to them. But if we're just being honest, they were just better football teams. And that's okay. You know, it's okay. Now we went back to the drawing board and maybe we can be better. Maybe we can be better. We need another receiver. The Steelers went and did it. Who would have thought that the Steelers would trade a second round pick to go get DK Metcalf? Who would have thought that? I mean, when is the last time the Steelers did something like that? With Minka? We traded a first round pick to get Minka? And that was for defense. Who knew that the Steelers would do that for offense? I mean, I didn't even think it was a possibility that they were going to do something like that, but they did. Okay, great. Now we got him. Now it's, well, we don't have a quarterback. Hey, man, hold on a second. You know, we've got some quarterbacks in here. And to be quite frank with you, and I'll be honest, if they bring in another quarterback from the outside that can make the team better, I'm fine with it. If they don't, I'm fine with that. But I still don't think the Steelers aren't going to pay George Pickens. I don't think that they're not going to pay Pickens. If Pickens has a decent year this year, I think the Steelers are going to pay him. I really believe that. Now, it takes two to tango. Pickens may try to price himself out of it and doesn't want to sign with the Steelers, but then I would just franchise him. But the Steelers can pay him. They can pay him. Look, teams are doing it all over the league, man. They're doing it all over the league. They're paying guys. I mean, look at Philadelphia last year. Now, granted, their defense is a bunch of young guys, but they're paying damn near their entire offensive line, their quarterback, and both wide receivers and their tight end. That is what Philly's doing. Literally, on the offensive line, they're paying 4 of the 5 guys, the quarterback, both receivers, a running back. I mean, they're paying guys. So you can do it. You can figure it out. You can figure it out. I like what this team is doing. They may not start out of the gate like we did last year, but you all seen the record. I can't wait till the schedule comes out. I think it's the 14th when the schedule comes out. So we're deciding whether we should do a live or just a regular show on the schedule. But we'll put it together. We'll have it together and make it work. But either way, it'll more than likely be a live. But again, we'll see. But I'm excited. So go get Jalen Ramsey. I think that ship has sailed now on Jalen Ramsey. I think the ship has sailed. I thought maybe you do it before the draft, but they didn't. But I like what you're thinking, though, Anthony, because there's a lot of Steeler fans are like, oh, Ramsey's washed. We don't want to get him. And I'm like, oh, excuse me? What part of Jalen Ramsey's game is washed? What part of that? So, and you're talking about Sebastian says Jair Alexander. Here's the thing. Both of them have a little injury history. Alexander's history is worse than Ramsey's. So, and at their best, Ramsey's a little bit better than Alexander. So, but you're right, Digital. Khan stuck to the plan. He didn't overdraft a quarterback. He didn't reach for anybody. That's the thing. They didn't reach for anybody, which I love. Didn't have to. Didn't need to. Couch Princess is, I had to move. I swept over by her bed today. So I put her bed up on the couch, and she said, oh, I'll just climb right in it. Knocked out. Just completely knocked out. So Knocked out. But I love what we're doing. I think we got a shot, man. I think we got a shot. We'll see. We'll see. And also, I'm not sure that the Steelers are done. You know how things happen with guys get cut, after training camp. I still think there's a possibility. Look, first of all, the Steelers need a swing tackle. We know we need a swing tackle. So that's number one. We need some more depth on the offensive line. We got to go get that. So they'll do that and to figure out the rest of this roster. And then we'll go from there. But it is what it is, man. I'm not begging people. Like I said early in the offseason when there were other names that were being mentioned, I'm like, why are we begging somebody to want to come and be part of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Like that just doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't compute to me on why we would be begging for something like that. We don't have to beg anybody. We don't need to beg anybody. So not for me. Look, we're the Steelers. We don't need to beg. We don't need to beg anybody for anything. If you like us, great. Come be a part of it. If you don't, so yes, Palmer, we need O tackle. We absolutely do. Yeah, that effing guy, you're right. But I'm not worried about next year. Look, I don't do that. And maybe that's a fault of mine. I'm not looking at next year. We haven't even gone to OTAs for the 2025 season. I could care less about 2026. Let's just see what happens in 2025 first. We can worry about 2026 when this season is over. I'm not that concerned about it. I get it. You got to plan for the future. I understand we got a ton of comp picks that we can move up and get a quarterback next year if that's in the cards. But I'm like, hey, man, let's play this out. Let's play this out and see what happens. I don't know if our expectations shouldn't be that high. I don't know. Let me just pull up something here. So, if I'm looking at this correctly, which on the road, obviously we have the three conference opponents, and then we have Buffalo, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Miami, Minnesota, and the Seahawks. Oh, I take that back. That's at home. On the road, because we have the NFC North, and we have the AFC East. So we play Chicago at home, or Chicago on the road, Detroit on the road, the Chargers, and then we have the Patriots and the Jets. I mean, don't care, Rod, about somebody that isn't on our team. When he becomes part of the team, we'll talk about it. Go to the Jets game. And so then at home, we got the Colts, the Packers, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Vikings, and Seattle. One of these games I'm going to have to try to get to. They don't play anywhere around in Texas this year. Yeah, they don't play anywhere around. So I'd love to go to Chicago for a game, depending on when that is. I would love to go to Chicago, but we'll see. We'll see when exactly that game is and try to figure out some stuff. But we usually do post-game lives. You all know that. So it's definitely a better schedule than last year, unless they, again, put all of our damn division games at the end of the year like we did last year. Oh, by the way, the other two teams that you're going to play is going to be the Eagles and the Chiefs. Jiminy Christmas. So hopefully they spread it out a little bit more. But, I mean, look, the Bears are going to be better. The Lions are still good. The Vikings are going to be good. I don't know about the Seahawks. The Packers are going to be good. You know, every team in the NFC North is going to be good. But I think we got, you know, road games, the Patriots, the Jets, the Chargers. You know how the Chargers game is. When we go out there, it's like a home game for us. So we'll see. We'll see. Yes, Fields will get the Steelers defense. You're exactly right. But yeah, I mean, going out to the Chargers. I mean, y'all, every time we go out there, whether it's the Chargers or the Rams, that's like a damn Steelers home game, man. No matter where or which LA team we play, it's like a damn home game. What's up, M Sparks? So I'm just waiting. I am waiting to see exactly when all that goes down. So, Miguel Wood, what's going on? What's happening? Hey, do me a favor, guys. If you all are in, please hit that like button, man. I would appreciate it. Y'all do a good job of doing that, but make sure you guys hit that like button. So what else we got? DK, GP. I like them. I think they could be one of the better tandems in the league. I think Pickens and Metcalf can be one of the better tandems in the league. And I don't really care who the quarterback is. You know, and don't get me wrong, I care, but I'm saying they can be one of the better tandems in the league, regardless of the quarterback. I think they're that talented. Now, got to take advantage of it. You know, we can't BS with it. So, I'm doing good, Robert. Appreciate you being in here. Digital, I don't know if they're a top 3 duo. I don't know if they're a top 3. I mean, that's pushing it. That's pushing it. I like where your head's at. Don't get me wrong. I like where your head's at. But top 3, I don't know. I don't know. Because first off, they're not better than the team, and I'll just go through it. Exactly, Hopper. You know my philosophy. It's a contract year for Pickens. Look out. Look out. But, you know they're not better than the Bengals. We can be honest about that. So go. Wish my luck. Guy, I got my boxing match next weekend. Okay, well, good luck, my man. Good luck, Miguel Wood, and thank you for the super chat. Thanks for supporting the channel, man. We appreciate you. We absolutely appreciate you. But, so Digital, you're saying only Cincinnati and Philadelphia were ranked higher. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, you go through the list. Cincinnati, obviously. What about, I mean, Houston, the guys are young. Nobody else. No. You go to NFC West. I don't know. Tampa Bay, they're better. Detroit's better. Philly's better. So I don't know. You could probably say Minnesota is right up there. So we'll see. We'll see. But I like our chances, though. I like DK. I like Pickens. And again, I feel like they're going to take advantage of their talents. That's what they got to do. They got to take advantage of their talents. If they do that, then we got something, people. We absolutely got something. But again, they got to take advantage of it. Got to take advantage of their talents. That's the main thing. That's the key. Charlie Newton starting a rookie. Yeah, no, not yet. Look, Will Howard, you're saying, I think we need to start Howard. Did you see him on John Gruden? He's very smart. But being smart at the whiteboard and being smart out on the field is two totally different things. So he can know what to do. He can know exactly what to do. But when the live action hits, that's something else. Yeah, Tomlin doesn't like starting rookies. He doesn't like that unless his hand is forced. He doesn't do that very often, especially a rookie quarterback. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Now, if he earns the job, he earns the job. It is what it is. But hey, he's going to have to earn the job. He's going to have to earn that job. But I like Howard. I don't think he's necessarily, I think he's a backup in this league, but he could definitely earn, give him a couple years, and who knows? Who knows what he can do? Who knows what he can do? But we'll see. But yeah, I just like DK and I like Pickens. I like that tandem, man. I like that tandem. And then go along with Freiermuth, Calvin Austin. I like it. Although a lot of people think the Steelers are going to move off Calvin Austin. And I don't know if I would do that. But depending on what you could get for him, if Roman Wilson can play, then I wouldn't be opposed to necessarily moving off Calvin Austin. But that's only if Roman Wilson can play. But if he can't, I mean, and you definitely need, you need a couple of slot guys. So I don't think you have to trade Calvin Austin. They're not going to extend him, but he'll just leave in free agency. It is what it is. So, no, Will Howard shouldn't remind you of Josh Allen, man. He doesn't have even close to the athletic ability or the arm. It just, because his size, okay, yeah, 6'4", 230, 235, 236. Yes, his size can remind you of Josh Allen, but nothing else will remind you of Josh Allen. He's not as athletic as Josh Allen, and he definitely doesn't have the arm that Josh Allen has. So, I get it. You look at his size and you think that, but nothing else is going to remind you of him. And again, I've seen Will Howard. I saw him for 4 years at Kansas State. I saw him this past year at Ohio State. His play isn't going to remind you of Josh Allen. Don't mean he's bad. It just, his play isn't going to remind you of that. That's all. So, that is all. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Now we get to see what Arthur Smith is made of. We get to see it. So, Rob T says, I don't see franchise QB in Howard. I think it's too early to tell, but I would lean that way. But I would lean more Howard being a backup quarterback, a good one. That's what I would lean toward, but I don't lean towards him being, this franchise guy. Torsha has it more right. Will Howard is closer to Tannehill than Allen. Absolutely. And you know who Tannehill was actually really good? He was really good with Arthur Smith. So, yeah, she's gonna saw wood in the background, man. She's gonna do that. So, Will Howard is more comparable to a young Dak Prescott or Tannehill. Yeah. Here's the thing about, Dak Prescott, he gets a bad rap because he's the quarterback of the Cowboys, and he comes up small in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. But Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. People that just act like he's terrible, I'm like, he is not terrible. Dak Prescott is not a terrible quarterback. No way, no how. And if Dak Prescott didn't come with a $60 million price tag, I would take Dak Prescott on the Steelers right this second. Right this very second. But I wouldn't pay him $60 million. Now, that's something different. But, yeah, people talk like he's just a bad quarterback. I'm like, no, he isn't. He has come up small in the playoffs. Definitely that. But he's not a bad quarterback, man. He's not bad. So, way better than Tannehill. I don't know. Tannehill, like I said, under Arthur Smith, Tannehill was pretty good. Now, it didn't last that long, but he was pretty good. But I'm just curious, Mark Malone, why are we saying that a 6th round quarterback is going to be just great? I don't know where we're coming up with that. Like, if he was great, why did he last to the 6th round? So, guys, you guys can't tell me anything about Will Howard. I watched him for 4 years at Kansas State. I do a podcast on Kansas State football, literally. So I know who he is. I know exactly who he is. That can see over the middle, step up in the pocket, throw deep. You're right. Exactly. Yes. Tom Brady was picked in the 6th round. Tom Brady. Who else? Tom Brady's an outlier. We act like that happens every day. I get why somebody would say that, but we act like, hey, Tom Brady, there's Tom Brady growing on trees out there. You can find Tom Brady in every draft. What other draft have we found a Tom Brady in? What other draft? I'm just curious. Are we talking about a guy in the 6th round that has gone on to be this spectacular quarterback? I'm not saying Will Howard can't be a starter at some point in time. So, but we act like that just grows on trees. It doesn't. It doesn't. And to say Matt Hasselbeck was a great quarterback, is that what we're doing? Okay. Derek Anderson was drafted. But, I'm just trying to figure out why everybody you know what? He's going to be great. I don't think he's going to be great. I think he could be fine. But to say he's going to be great is, that's just fool's gold, in my opinion. Hell, you're right. Tom Brady didn't start until Bledsoe got hurt in his 2nd year. If Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, who the hell knows when Tom Brady would have started? So Drew Brees was drafted in the 2nd round, the first pick of the 2nd round. That ain't the 6th. Yeah, Matt Hasselbeck. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, man. And I get it. We're hype about Will Howard. I totally understand. But we just have to be realistic. We got to be realistic. That's all. We just got to be realistic. Will doesn't need to be great. I just think he needs to be a game manager. He has the tools, just like he did in college. He's a smart kid. He could be like Purdy for us. Yeah, he could be. Absolutely. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And James hit it on the head. Is the line going to be good? Y'all know how I feel about that. If the offensive line is good, if the offensive line is just average, because it was below average last year. If the offensive line is average, the Steelers are going to have a good team. Howard the GOAT, trust me. Charlie, I'm sorry, my man. Okay. I'm trying to be as nice and respectful as possible, so I'll just say okay. I'm not out on Broderick just yet. I'm not there, but I need to see something. I need to see something from Broderick. So, I like Will Howard, but no matter who's the QB, it won't matter. Why won't it matter? I don't understand why it won't matter. saying they have to get going with chemistry. Well, they're not allowed to practice yet. I mean, the kid just got drafted last week. Prove it year for Broderick, and Faetano needs to show us that he can stay healthy. Yeah, Broderick Jones, it's this year. If Broderick Jones can't play, I don't even think he'll be on the Steelers next year. I think he's getting cut, in my personal opinion. That's what I think. Claude Bishop, M. Malone was calling for Will Allen, and I think that is a good 6th-round pick, and I wouldn't have been mad if they drafted in the 4th. So, okay. And I think you were talking about Will Howard versus Will Allen. What's my thoughts on, and appreciate the super chat, Mr. Claude Bishop. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you. And here's the thing, man. The reason I'm not out on Broderick is because I know you all know we do all 22s of the offensive line after the game. We pick 10 plays that we do after each game. And there were plenty of times where when Broderick did it right, he was incredible. When he actually did it right, he was incredible. But that was so few and far between, it was pathetic. It was pathetic. You know, there was so much where he just didn't have the effort on plays, or he had mental lapses on plays. I just don't know exactly. It's like, I don't know. So, I don't know. Dirty says we should have taken a guard in the draft. Appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. We appreciate it. I don't know if we should have taken a guard. I mean, they like the guards that they got. And again, all the experience in McCormick, is basing. It's weird. It's like, okay, McCormick came from FSS level. He wasn't supposed to even play last year. He gets thrown into the lineup because not only did the starter get hurt, but we found out Spencer Anderson can't play in the National Football League. So they had to throw McCormick in there. He wasn't terrible. I mean, he wasn't good, but he wasn't just terrible. And it's almost like they don't think that he can get any better. It's weird that fans, okay, they go out their rookie year and they'll get no better than their rookie year. They'll never get better. Guys get better all the time, man. Guys get better all the time. So, Siamalu doesn't have an injury history, and he's 31 years old. What are you talking about? 31, I mean, we act like 31-year-olds can't play football anymore. Come on, man. Come on, Siamalu's not old. I mean, if he was 36, that's a different conversation. 31 is not old. Mason McCormick is a dog without technique. Once he figures out the technique, this will be a big offseason for him. When he gets the technique, look out. James, is because Mike Tomlin doesn't fire coaches, man. That's why. That's the only reason I can think of. Aaron Jade, man, you got to stop, bro. You got to stop. You got to stop. Who's going to be the QBs? The QBs that are on the roster right now. That's who I think they're going to be. So, that's who I think they're going to be. And Aaron J., don't think I didn't see you trying to throw in Roger Staubach was the 17th pick, or in the 10th round. He was the first damn pick of the draft. What are you talking about? It's just it's okay to stop. It's okay to stop. Da 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 da. Doo doo. Doo doo. Doo. Yeah, you got to stop, bro. You got to stop. You got to stop. But either way, the quarterbacks that are on the Steelers roster right now, that's who we're going to go with. If somebody else comes along, great. If they don't, great. I'm fine with it. And not only am I fine with it, I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. Not doing it. Not doing it. Until somebody else comes along. Can Coach T come up with new ideas? Hopefully. Hopefully. We haven't seen it, but hopefully. So, hopefully. But we'll see what happens. You think Warren rushes for over 1,000 yards this season? No, I don't, Torsha. I don't think he does. Because I don't think he's going to get the carries, too. I don't think he gets over 1,000 yards. So, that's my point. I don't think he's going to get the carries. You and I and everybody else knows that Jaylen Warren is good back, but he's not an every down back. He's not an every down back. So, that's a good question on are we going to let GP walk? I don't think so. I don't think we are. Here's the thing. And I said it earlier, if let's just say Pickens has a good year this year. Well, if he has a good year, he's going to want a ton of money. Okay, then pay him. Why can't we just pay him? Aaron Jade, you got to stop, brother. Nobody's Googling anything about Roger Staubach. Nobody cares. But, GP, I think we should. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, if he plays good, why don't we just pay him? It's not like we don't have the money. We have plenty of money. Just pay them. You got to pay people, right? The salary cap keeps going up. People get too hung up on how much money somebody makes. The only person that I'm hung up on how much money they make is Mika Fitzpatrick. And Mika Fitzpatrick, the reason that I get hung up about that is because the amount that he makes based on what he does and what they're asking him to do. That's my only thing. But, George Pickens, if he has a good year, there's two ways of thought. And Claude, you're right, because I've mentioned it before. They can always tag Pickens. They can always do that. But here's the thing. Pay him. That's number one. You can always do that if he has a good season. Pay the man. Number two, let's say he has a good season, but he still acts like an idiot. Okay. We don't necessarily want to let you go, so we're going to franchise you for the year. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate the franchise tag because I'm always pro player. But the player's the one who negotiated the franchise tag in the first place, so it's their own fault. It's their own fault. So it's in existence because that's what they wanted. They chose to have less practice time and less hitting, and the owner said, great, franchise tags. So there's that. There's that. Let me. But that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Yeah, and that's the whole thing is that GP will probably, look, I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. Unless George Pickens is an absolute idiot, and he very well might be, but he should be on his best behavior this year because he's on pace to get paid every bit of $25 million plus for the next 3 to 4 years. So you would think a guy like that would be on his best behavior knowing that this is what's coming down the road. Now, if he doesn't do that, well, then he would just be an idiot. That's all I'm going to tell you. He'd just be an idiot. So, and that's my whole thing. You can either mature and be a mature human being or not. But for the next 2 years, you're going to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers no matter what. That's what's going to happen. So that's my whole thing. Hopefully he just grows up a little bit. He hadn't shown any signs of that, but hopefully the bells have gone off, the switch has flipped, and he's like, you know what? I got to stop acting like this. It's time for me to be a different person. And if he can do that, great. And then be that different person. And it might be a little humbling because now he's got a guy on his team that's bigger than him, stronger than him, faster than him. Now, I don't know that he's necessarily a better receiver, but DK is definitely all that. He's bigger, stronger, and faster. Doesn't have as good a hands as Pickens. So maybe that'll humble him a little bit. Like, okay, I got to get my shit together. And if he does, great. That's good for the Steelers, in my opinion. That's really good for the Steelers, in my opinion. And no, they don't. And Steelers, when they get Steeler receivers, they don't usually play well at their next team. And teams should start being smart. They should start figuring out, well, if the Steelers don't want to deal with them anymore, it looks like they put up with a lot and they didn't want to bring them back, maybe we should think twice about bringing those guys in. So that would be my thinking. That would be my thinking. So, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. Yeah, the Browns signed Deontay. I didn't think Deontay Johnson would ever play another down in the NFL. I mean, he basically quit on 3 teams. I didn't think he'd ever play in the NFL again. But desperate teams do desperate stuff. So, desperate teams do desperate stuff. So, but we'll see what happens. Steelers must target 2 OGs next year. I mean, not if Mason McCormick pans out. So, bronze are the bronze. Exactly. Browns are where wide receivers and QBs go to die. Yeah. They do. They do. Why would the Steelers get Tannehill? Wisconsin Cheese is saying they should just Tannehill or Kirk at this point to screw off Rodgers' chances of playing this year. Why would the Steelers sign Ryan Tannehill when he's not even in football? So what would be the point in signing a guy that's not even in the league? Like, he hasn't been in the league in over a year. What would be the point of that? And your hatred, obviously you must be from Green Bay, so your hatred for Rodgers is starting to show. Let it go, bro. Let it go. Just because Tannehill's not retired, that doesn't make him in the league. I'm not retired either. I never played in the National Football League. Not talking about Rodgers, man. I'm not talking about him being on the team until he is. So, now we got people that are crying because somebody's not on the team. That's ridiculous, man. Hopefully Freiermuth has a better year. Hopefully he does. Doesn't matter if Tannehill knows Arthur Smith's football. Tannehill can't play football anymore. That's why he's not in the NFL. Because if he was, and if he could, he'd be in the NFL. It's like the droids from Star Wars in here. Roger, Roger. Oh. Yeah, Muth's got to have a better year, but he's got to be utilized a lot better too. It's got to be utilized a lot better. And, Darnell Washington, he kind of is what he is. He kind of is what he is. Can we utilize him more in the red zone? We can. But he's never going to be the guy that goes out and gets 50 or 60 catches a game. That's not his game. Yeah, they can do that. Hopefully this year isn't run, pass, punt. You're exactly right on that, man. And the thing about it is, it wasn't all Arthur Smith. You could say it was a collection of everything. Like Arthur Smith, the play calling wasn't great. The quarterback play wasn't great. The offensive line wasn't great. It was a collection of everybody. It wasn't just Arthur Smith bad or quarterbacks bad or line bad. It was just everybody. It was just everybody. So, which inside linebacker do you see being odd man out? I don't think any of them are going to be the odd man out. I don't think any of them are going to be. I mean, you need 4 at least. Probably keep 5. That's where I'd say. But if there is an odd man out, I think it's Mark Robinson. Appreciate it, Mr. Jade. Said don't have to worry about second and Najee no more. It wasn't all Najee's fault. Yeah, that's what I would think. I think Mark Robinson would probably be the person that's gone. Because I don't think they drafted Bruner. He can be a special teams guy. Unless he just can't play, then I think he makes the team. What Wisconsin cheese? What are you talking about? Bro, you're talking about when Tannehill was good. Man, that was 5 years ago. Okay, let it go. Let it go. He didn't play football last year because he wasn't good enough to be on an NFL roster. Nobody wants him to be on their football team, including the Steelers. Let it go. Arthur Smith couldn't do good in Atlanta. He didn't have a quarterback in Atlanta. But I think that was partly part of Arthur Smith's doing, but they didn't have a quarterback in Atlanta. That's why they weren't any good. But again, I think Arthur Smith was a part of the reason that they didn't have a quarterback in Atlanta. You can't, GK. You literally can't guess wins or losses. You can't. Not at this point. You got to know. I mean, we know who we play, and we know where they play, and we just don't know when. So, but yeah, it's tough to guess wins or losses when you don't know when they're playing because I'm sorry, playing on the road at Chicago in September is different than playing on the road in Chicago in December. Totally different. Mm-mm. 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 That's the whole thing with the schedule. Do the Steelers have a holiday game? I don't know. Don't know. Be honest with you, I hope the Steelers don't have a holiday game. Last year, I didn't like it just for selfish reasons. Couldn't spend as much time with my family because I was covering the game. We did our pregame and postgame. Not to mention we got our head beaten in. So, and my wife's a diehard Chiefs fan because she's from Kansas City, so that made it even worse. Ugh. Don't care about any other quarterbacks on other teams. I literally don't care, and I'm not going to talk about them. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. If I'm not going to talk about possible quarterbacks from my team, then I'm definitely not going to talk about quarterbacks from another team. Just not going to happen, man. So, well, all right, guys, I'm going to run. I appreciate y'all being in here, man. I just wanted to come in and rap at y'all a little bit. We should be live tomorrow morning. So if you guys are available at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, we will be live, ready to roll. Other than that, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, and then hit the notification bell so you guys know exactly when Steelers Almighty content comes out. So appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. We will talk to you soon. Aloha.